Hi, I'm Jim. I'm a narcissist. I have narcissistic personality disorder. I making these videos for anybody that's looking to gain information in the, what it's like to have this disorder, my opinions, my recollections, things like that. So I try not to glory hound because, man, I'm so bad at it. But it's gonna be difficult for me to do that without it's gonna be difficult for me to tell you what I want to tell you and express my concerns without giving some information. So, if you don't know, I'm a hiker. It's my thing, love it, really enjoy it. I've had a weight loss journey, in the last 5 years that hiking is something I've kind of come to in the last like three or 4 years. And it just keeps getting more and more intense. Like I keep, kind of elevating my hiking. And so I am planning a packing trip, right, on the Appalachian Trail. And I haven't done a packing trip. And if you're not familiar with what a packing trip is, that means like you're bringing a backpack and you are sleeping, right? It's referred to as through hiking, right? So I'm a day hiker, which means I go, I hike, I come home before the sun sets, right? That's what I do. But I've been really excited to try some through hiking and packing. So I'm gonna do 3 days, leaving tomorrow morning, staying at a hostel tonight. That's not important. Here's my concern, and here's what I'm worried about. So, the group has a max size, and it's maximum capacity, right? 5. So there's the facilitator, and then 4 people that have signed up to do this, right? Now, I know none of them at all. The only interaction I've had with any of them, the person that facilitates, when I first signed up, you have to pay money because there's going to be like a transport to get, because you start here, you hike here at the end of day 1, here end of day 2, here end of day 3. You see what I'm saying, right? So they pay somebody to bring us all back at the very end. And that was the only contact I had. Evidently, the weather's going to be really bad, so the person that's heading it sent me a text yesterday just to make sure, to find out whether or not I was still interested and, to talk about some of the weather concerns. So with that being said, I really don't know these people at all. And I've kind of shared in the past, and I'll share again. When I'm meeting somebody for the first time, my glory hound is off the rails, right? I mean, and it's not just that, like my drive and need to have you like me and tell you about how amazing I am and to take over the conversation. These are things I've brought up in the past. Like, here's the thing, I just find myself in these groups. If I'm hiking with people I've never met, I'm just always talking about the same things, and so I'm presented with the challenge of not wanting to do that, right? I mean, this is gonna be a great opportunity for me to, there ain't no going home. There ain't no turning around, right? Well, I guess there is, but that ain't happening. Trust me, if I was turning around at the second, I'm not gonna glory hound, right? So, but no, turning around will not be an option for me. It's not something I'm gonna do, right? It's not something it's not even a possibility I would entertain in any way, shape, or form. But I don't want to glory hound. I don't want to control the conversations, So I'm gonna challenge myself with some tasks, right? So I want to get to know these people in a way I haven't really done before. Like, I always let everybody get to know me, right? And that's what you're doing when you're controlling the conversation, is let's talk about this, because guess what? I want you to learn more about me and like me. So I got my bag of goodies, right? And in goodies, I mean my tricks under my hat, hidden up the sleeve, you know what I mean? Things like, oh, what other adventures have you done? You know what I mean? Start asking questions, So, hey, tell me about some really nice vacations you've been on, right? So, hey, what other hobbies do you have other than hiking? Really start to learn about these other people. Take a genuine interest in who they are. So that's something I wanna do on this trip. I wanna get to know them. I wanna try my best not to control and manipulate the time. Yeah, and I think it's gonna be very therapeutic. I think it'll be really good for my growth. I think it's gonna be really good for me to progress on my wellness journey, my journey to emotional betterment. Yeah, so that's what I kind of got going on. That's definitely something I kind of got going on. And since I'm on on the topic of me being a narcissist with narcissistic personality disorder, hey, I don't know if this is a trait of the disorder, but I've noticed, at least myself, let me make sure I'm saying this the right way. So when I go into a situation, especially like this one, right, and I'm feeling really comfortable and confident in that my mind's going to feel superior in just about every aspect, right? And superior, I mean, I run a lot, I hike a lot. I'm almost, even when I join these hiking groups, I'm almost always the most aggressive hiker, right? I, feel pretty confident in my ability that when we're hiking, hitting really hard inclines, that my beats per minute will probably be the lowest, or at least one of the lowest, right? That's just, what I've noticed. And when I find myself in that situation, it really is a susceptible time for my disorder to take over. Because when I start to feel that superiority, then I feel that sense of entitlement and righteousness, and and that's when my disorder really wants to, be abusive to other people. I mean, to the point where I've noticed, before I acknowledge that I have this disorder, if I was hiking in a group and I was talking to someone, maybe we're talking about some science or something, and they said something I didn't agree with, I just roll out and just start pick up my pace and walk away from them, right? I mean, just literally that ignorant and that rude. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm better than you. I mean, look at how much better than you I hike. So I don't trust or value your opinion in any way, shape, or form. And I mean, it's gotta be hurtful to that other person. Nobody wants to be treated like that. So I also want to be really conscious that I'm not doing any of that kind of stuff. Like I don't want to allow myself to feel superior to the other hikers in my group, right? At that point, at the end of the day, we're a team, and there's all kinds of options. And here's an option: if Jim wants to be a jackass, I'm Jim. If Jim wants to be a jackass, Jim can hike alone. I mean, each day we're gonna have our stop where we set up camp, spend the night, and I can get there having really nice, fun conversations with the other 4 people I'm going with, or I can hike by myself and hate life, right? I'm not gonna choose to hike by myself, but if I'm not nice to the other people, they're not gonna want to hike with me, right? They're gonna find ways to walk away from me. You know what I mean? So, this is really, really important. I mean, my actions have consequences, and I need to acknowledge that, right? But like I said, here's the thing: whether I get there in 3 hours or I get there in 6 hours, it doesn't make a difference. I'm still getting to the same place, still gonna be doing the same things, right? I definitely want to pay attention to my thoughts. I don't want to be negative, right? I can tend when I'm out hiking to immediately start, oh man, why aren't we going faster? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? Why are we stopping so much? And I'm really going to try to control those thoughts. right? And I think I told you one of the things I do to counter my negative thoughts is I talk back to them, right? So at that point, man, you know, let's say, yeah, we stop. Maybe somebody have to go to the bathroom, and man, those negative thoughts, man, you know, this person's going to the bathroom all the time. What, you know, man. So at that point, man, hey, just calm down. I mean, what's it going to take? An extra 5-10 minutes? Like, we're out here in the wilderness. I mean, you know, there's no alarm clock that has to go off. There's no, you know, not like I'm going to miss dinner. It's not like I'm going to not be able to eat because we're stopping to let this person use the privy. See, using my trying to impress you, my knowledge of the terms. But I talk myself through those, you know, those negative thoughts. My disorder once hit me with negative thoughts. I attack back with positive thoughts. All right, I attack back with logic and common sense. Right? And I tell you what, that thing ain't ready. That disorder doesn't know what to do. I mean, it just goes to bed, right? And it works, and it works well. But it only works if I'm focused, right? I mean, I have to acknowledge those negative thoughts. And then, like I said, turn around and smack them around a little bit. Be like, hey, look, you're not messing up my trip. I thought about this before I came out here, all right? So, so yeah, I mean, you know, and I think this is really important for someone that's on a journey. It's what we got to do. Like, we got to plan and anticipate before we go. Like, and I like this metaphor. And you know me, man, I'm loaded. I'm going to give you 5 metaphors for everything. Sorry. Trying to get some soda in because, you know, it's going to be nothing but water for the next couple of days. And enjoying the sweet flavor of the Diet Coke. So, here's the thing. Here's my metaphor, right, for the hike. Let's say I do the same with the stuff I gotta bring, right? So I'm like, you know what? I'm going on the Appalachian Trail for 3 days. Woohoo, let's go. And I get there, and the lead facilitator, we start walking. She comes over, facilitator, I don't know, host, whatever you call it, the leader, right? I don't know what you call them. See, they're, man, don't even know what you call those, man, troop leader, pack leader, I don't know, whatever. So they come over and they're like, hey, you're Jim, right? Yeah, I'm Jim. Kind of noticing, Jim, you don't have hiking sticks. Nope, didn't bring any. Yeah, Jim, I'm also kind of noticing you don't have a pack. Nope, didn't bring one. You know, Jim, everybody else has a pack. In the short term, you know, what were you planning to do for food? I don't know, didn't bring any. Well, you know, what about water? I don't know, didn't bring any. Well, we could probably help you out with those, you know. We were smart, we all brought food and water, so maybe we can share a little bit. But Jim, you don't have a pack. That means like no tent, no hammock? Nope, didn't bring any. Jim, you got a sleeping bag? Nope, don't have one. Okay, now you see where I'm getting. You can't just show up and expect for the best, right? What did I do for this trip? And I'll be honest, I procrastinated a little bit on this. So I work remotely on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and when I get done work today, I'm gonna literally drive over to someone's house, and we're gonna carpool to a hostel where we'll spend the night tonight, and then tomorrow we'll drive out to where we're gonna start the hike. But I started thinking, and here's the thing. I mean, in weeks ago, I didn't start packing. I'm not joking. I did not pack anything or anticipate, or anything other than like plan in my mind this trip and packing for this trip before yesterday. So everything, like, I thought about it, but the actual like physically touching stuff started yesterday, right? But I mean, like, weeks, maybe a month ago, I mean, like right around the time I signed up, I immediately was like, well, what am I gonna do? I started thinking, I'm like, I'm gonna sleep in a hammock. Okay, all right. Do you have a sleep pad? Really important, because the hammock gets really cold underneath, right? Bam. Yeah, I already got one. Okay. What about a sleeping bag? You know, I know I have 3. They're 2 different sizes, right? Okay. Literally yesterday, I rolled them out. And the one was a lot lighter, so I made sure I could fit in it, and I can. I was like, oh, this one's lighter. I'll take this one, right? Well, if I sleep in a hammock, I'm definitely gonna need cover of some kind in case it rains. You know, like a tarp. Oh, I have one of those. Okay. What am I gonna do for food? Well, I threw out about like 5 things in my head, right? Beef jerky, mixed nuts, protein bars, those packets of like tuna or chicken, you know, stuff like that, right? You know, and yeah, well, what am I gonna wear? Well, you know, probably this is the same stuff I wear when I hike, right? And then I thought, well, you know, I need a pack. Do I have a packing pack? You know, larger than my regular day pack. Yeah, I already have one. I've never used it, but I have one. And I was like, you know what? Except for the food, I don't think I need to go buy anything, right? So yesterday, you know, working remotely, so when I, you know, have breaks and stuff like that, went in and started pulling stuff out of the, you know, camping collection to get it ready. And, you know, went to the store, went and bought those little packets I told you about, right? And started gathering everything up and putting it in the pack. And, you know, I packed about 70% of it and, you know, set my alarm to come to work today, finish the rest. So you see, that's a really long metaphor. I'm sorry, guys. I spent a lot of time. But you see what I'm saying? So just the thinking about it started like a month ago. The actual, like, you know, doing started yesterday. And today, I'm at work with my entirely packed pack in the parking garage, waiting for work to finish for me to leave, right? What I didn't do was just show up and expect everything will be fine, right? And that's how I have to do my disorder. I can't just show up and expect everything's gonna go fine. I can't. This demon's strong. It's vicious. It wants blood. It wants to hurt people. You know, I have an obligation to keep it under control. I'm in charge, right? So, maybe a couple of weeks ago, some things started like popping into my head. And I started having like a good, long, you know, soul searching, you know, anticipation of what do I need to be aware of? What things do I, you know, could be potential triggers, right? I've walked through all that, you know, and I've worked with my therapist on it. Like, that's something we talked about, right? And I will not show up there with these other four people not prepared. I will not put their safety at risk like that. And that's, you know, when you're a narcissist and you have narcissistic personality disorder, that's how you have to live your life. You have to anticipate these things, right? You have to plan ahead. You have to be ready. And I am ready. I'm excited, right? I'm excited to meet that challenge, right? Yeah, so that's fun stuff. And you got to learn a little bit about me. We'll see. You know, not everything's perfect, not everything's amazing. The distances per day is probably a little bit less than I want, but the first day is a very aggressive incline. It'll probably be the steepest incline I've probably ever done. I'm just judging it based upon the feet of elevation gained compared to the amount of miles we're going to go. And I'm running that through my head compared to other hikes I've done. So I think it'll probably be the steepest, and you know, after that it kind of like mellows out a little bit. For day 2 and day 3, calling for some bad weather. High chances of rain, you know, almost every day. But you know, just part of the adventure, right? So so I mean, you know, all in all, still looking forward to it. Still excited, right? And if the weather goes sideways, I mean, you just pivot and adjust, right? I thought about that. I mean, I got my rain gear, right? I know what to do if there's lightning, you know. Yeah. So yeah. More than how to prepare for a hike. you really need to be prepared how to deal with situations as a narcissist. Yeah. That's more important for me right now, that I make sure that I'm prepared for that situation, to make sure that I'm not going to hurt anybody emotionally, abuse anybody there. That's really important to me. That's more important than making sure that my safety and my well-being are planned and thought about ahead of time. I mean, I gotta understand that if I don't control this disorder, it's going to affect everything for the rest of my life. If I mess up and don't pack something correctly, it's going to mess up this weekend, my 3-day trip. But yeah, this disorder is going to factor into the rest of my life, and it's important, and it deserves that time and that attention, and that's exactly what I gave it. And those are the things that I'm going to work on, and I'm going to focus, right? Yeah. So I'm excited. Probably won't be making any videos because of the bad weather. I'm not going to be taking a whole bunch of backup power. So like my watch, my phone, I'll be probably turning off for most of the trip and limiting their use. Not sure. If I feel moved in the moment, I may try to make a video while I'm out there. Not really sure what the dynamic's going to look like. Not sure how comfortable I might be. If there's other people in close proximity that can hear, not sure how much of that I'm willing to share with people I don't know yet. And, a lot of that probably depend on, just all those variables. But yeah, and then getting back probably late Monday. So might not get another video until mid next week. But, and I know I keep saying it. I'm really running out of stuff to talk about. I am not kidding. And at some point, this is really just going to become a weekly thing that you guys are just my accountability. And all I do is just like my journal, just talk about it. And it was really neat, because I told my therapist, of course my therapist and I talk about me making the videos, and he told me he always felt like this was like an extreme version of journaling, right? And and he thought that it when I first brought it up that it would have huge benefits, right? And so at some point, like that's going to be my goal is when you do a journal, they say it's strengthened even more with an accountability coach, meaning you should have, someone that you go over that journal with, right? So it's one thing just to write stuff in a journal. It's another to actually like read them to someone, right? Just makes more accountability. And ultimately my plan will be that that's all I do on these videos is just once a week, just check in and give you my accountability, right? I go over my week, my successes, my failures. And I know I've been saying this for like ever, but I'm getting close. I mean, yeah. Some days I have no idea, what the topic's going to be, what I'm going to talk about. And, if at any point I feel like I've exhausted any, kind of any and all information that I think will be helpful, that's, when I hit that transition. But as it stands, I'm still coming up with things that I think are going to be useful and helpful. I thought this was huge, right? So, and I hope it's helpful. And I mean, you don't have to be going on a hike. I could care less what it is. I mean, maybe it's just you're going to a bar to have drinks with coworkers. I mean, it's everything. You're starting a new job. Forget that. You're going to your regular job. I mean, that this can be anything that there is a situation or scenario. You can break down the same way I did this camping trip. What are your potential triggers? Like, what do you need to be on the lookout for? Plan ahead. I'm telling you, it is a game changer, right? And it is huge because there's no cure for this disorder. There's no pill. There's no Hollywood aha moment. Let me go over what that means. There is no cure for narcissistic personality disorder. There's no cure for narcissism. None. All right, there's no pill. So if you go to a psychiatrist and you are diagnosed narcissistic personality disorder and he prescribes you medication, okay, I am not a psychiatrist, I'm not a licensed counselor. The research I have done says that there is no pill that will alleviate the symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder. So if you go to a psychiatrist and they're prescribing you medication, ask them why, right? You may have anxiety, or other things, and they're prescribing the medication for that. That is common. That happens. But if you say, hey, Mr. Psychiatrist, I'm a narcissist, I have narcissistic personality disorder, and they say, yes, I agree, I'm diagnosing you with that, right? I would like to make you a prescription. And they tell you this prescription is going to stop you from having these 5 symptoms. That's not true. Again, I'm not licensed anything, so let me not say. All the research says that it's not true. I'm just going by the research I've done. Right? There is no Hollywood moment, and I promise you, I looked for it. Right? I always use the Good Will Hunting with Robin Williams and Matt Damon. Son, it wasn't your fault. Right? Yeah, I know. And he walks a little bit closer. Son, it wasn't your fault. No, I know. And he walks a little bit closer, and that's the aha moment. Right? It's all gone. Like Matt Damon's magically cured. That doesn't exist. Trust me, if it did, when I went to the scene of the accident and I confronted my survivor's guilt, and I knew from the information my mom had given me that there was no chance that I could be blamed or I could blame myself in any way, shape, or form for not having known that car was coming and going to hit my brother. If there's any aha moment, any magical Hollywood cure, that was that. But no, the video's out there. I spent 30 minutes crying my eyes out, confronting and dealing with it, and I woke up with narcissistic personality disorder, just like I've woken up with it every day since, since the accident. Well, since sometime after the accident that my mind created it. Right? I can't imagine anybody, and I promise I want nothing more than it for you. Right? I hope that there's something like that for you in your trauma, whatever your trauma may be, because man, that's about as powerful and intense as anything I'm ever going to do in my therapy in my life. And I was open to it, and I confronted it, right? And I walked away exactly believing what I never thought I could, and I hope that there's something like that for you out there, but it's not going to cure. It's not going to take this disorder away, right? Yeah. So think of this disorder like a stain, right? And I don't know. I'm sure there's some kind of, let's just say there's a magical stain that nothing can get rid of, right? So you get that, and it's about a quarter size on your shirt. Here's the thing, that stain's always going to be there. And if we let it sit there and not do anything, everybody's going to come like, oh my God, what's on your shirt? Your shirt's so ugly. Look at that ugly shirt. What's that stain, right? I told you, me and the metaphors, man. But you scrub, and it's not going to disappear. It's not going to be completely gone, but you scrub that motherfucker like you never scrubbed anything in your life. And man, you go buy special chemicals, right? Right? And it lessens to the point where maybe every now and then somebody's like, oh, is that a little stain you got on your shirt there? Yeah, but I scrubbed at it, and it looks a whole much better than it did before. That's this disorder. It's always going to be there. It's never going to disappear. But we got to scrub as hard as we can, right? To make it look the best we can. Man, I got metaphors for anything. Hey, it is Memorial Day weekend, and I hope you find yourself around friends and family, you know, and you just have an amazing, awesome time. I do. Probably a good time to talk about it. So, if you are a narcissist and you have narcissistic personality disorder, I didn't even think about this. So for me, it's I'm going hiking. Man, you probably, you know, maybe you're going to like a family, you know, or friend barbecue. I mean, this is that season. This is that holiday. Man, this is a big video for you to watch. I mean, you know, start anticipating what your triggers are going to be at that barbecue, right? You know, what people are going to be there. You know, what challenges do they present? You know, what are you going to do if this happens? What are you going to do if that happens? Oh my God, yeah, this is huge. This is huge. And hey, you know, you think you know somebody has narcissistic personality disorder, you know, or you're in a relationship with them. I mean, you got to think about what that's going to look like. You go to a barbecue, right? Have they embarrassed you in that situation before? Yeah, you know, I mean, these are things you got to think about as well. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. And yeah, I mean, you know, we all have to make decisions in our lives, and you know, if you are in, you know what my recommendation is. If you're in a relationship with a narcissist, get out of the relationship immediately. Cease all communication with them. Don't let them back in. Cut them. Right? That's my opinion. That's my belief. Because I mean, how many of these you got to go to? How embarrassed do you have to be? On top of the emotional abuse you're getting at home, and possibly physical abuse, physical, sexual, and financial. Right? If you're in a relationship with a narcissist, they're emotionally abusing you. There's no question. All right. Have a great long weekend. I hope you're not working. I hope you know. And I will see you on the next video.